Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm Juan the Yarn Addict, and I'd like to welcome you to another session of Whipping It with Juan. If you're new here, hi, hello, and welcome. I'm super happy that you found me. If you're not new here and you're returning, well, welcome back. I'm super grateful and thankful you have returned. These Whipping It with Juan sessions are sessions where I become your crochet buddy for about 45 minutes to an hour. I sit back, I work on my whips while I talk to you about all the things. So if that is of interest to you, please sit back and enjoy the show. Before we get started, please don't forget to hit the like button. Consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't done so already. And then, of course, share the video. I would definitely appreciate the support. So the question of the hour is, what is on the hook? So for this session, I decided to work with something old and something new. So I pulled one of my whips from timeout back out. And so we have my perfectly squared granny square done in these wonderful vintage inspired colors. We have cafe latte, we have like a pumpkin orange, it's like a burnt orange, and then a chocolate brown. And I'm using Ice Yarn's favorite wool for this. It's 50 wool, 50 acrylic. And I do have one of the ball bands here. Very, very nice. So one of these skeins, it's 100 grams, 210 meters, so about 225 yards or so. They classify this as a bulky 5-weight yarn, but I did the wrap test. It gives me a medium 4-weight yarn. So I'm not really sure what that's about. And actually, it's a light 4-weight yarn because I'm actually able to use a 3.5 millimeter crochet hook for this. And I'll give you a close-up of the stitches. So it has pretty decent stitch definition. So I'm not sure why they classified it as a 5, but yeah, I have the chocolate brown here. And the cafe latte is in the other room. So I don't have the cafe latte in my whip basket, but there you have it. And so what I'm doing is I'm changing colors at the end of every skein, so long as I'm able to finish a complete round. So if I don't have enough to complete the round, I will rip back until I get back to the beginning of that round, and then I'll change colors. So far, I have 5 completed skeins on here, and I'm on skein number 6, the chocolate brown. And I'm going to continue going until I run out. So there is that. And then the something new. So last night I was on a phone call with some friends, and I decided to start another blanket. And so I finished my spring make along with big twist yarns. I had 7 colors in total, and I don't want that yarn to go to waste. So I decided to make a donation blanket with the leftover yarn. And so I am working a Timber Trails blanket. Now, my spring make along does not feature white, but white and black is allowed. It didn't count as a color, so it's not on there, but I decided to use white as a centerpiece. And then from there, I'm just gonna build this out using the Mal colors. And I do have the whip basket right here. So here are the colors that I used for my spring make along. We have slime green, varsity orange, lilac, forest green, hot pink, and burgundy. I'm sorry, wine. So those are the colors, and it's all big twist yarn. And I am using a 6 millimeter crochet hook for this, which I believe I put in this basket with this whip. I have a habit of doing that. I'm putting whips and hooks in different baskets. That's how they get lost. But yeah, so 6 millimeter US letter J prim hook for this. So this pattern here is a lot of fun. I do have it on my Ravelry. So if you're interested, feel free to check that out. My link will be in the show notes for you guys to enjoy. So there is that. And I think I'm going to start with, what am I going to start with? I'm going to start with my Timber Trails. So yes, this one is so much fun, because once you get the repeat down, it's autopilot. We love autopilot projects, especially when they're for donations. You know, you can just continue making them, and yeah, it's so great. So I have a personal goal of doing 1 donation blanket per week. Now, I'm not making huge blankets here, so they're 40 by 40 squared, or 45 to 50 inches, I'm sorry, 35 to 40 inches wide by 40 to 50 long. And I may actually make different sizes in the near future, but my goal here is to do 1 donation blanket every week. And so far, it's been working out really, really well. Last week I did 2, but it's been like a week and a half since my last podcast, and that's kind of my marker. So like every podcast, I want to have at least 1 donation blanket to show as a finished object, and I wound up with 3. So yeah, that happened. And a large part of the reason why I had 3 instead of 1 is because one of the blankets was done in all trebles, and the other blanket was a challenge. I challenged myself to do a blanket worked up in my 2 favorite stitches against my 2 least favorite stitches, using my 2 favorite colors and my 2 least favorite colors. Now, it begs to reason, why would I have colors in my stash that I do not like? Well, as a content creator, sometimes we have to work with yarns we don't care for. And, just because I don't like it doesn't necessarily mean that people who watch me feel the same way. So, I'm trying to be totally inclusive. And yes, that does mean the pink. I do have an aversion to certain shades of pink, and I will work with it so long as the project calls for it. Again, completely inclusive, so I'll go ahead and do it. But I do really, really enjoy the neon shades of pink, hot pink. There's a colorway called Diva Pink, which is more on the red side of the pink. I'll work with that. But it's like the country rose pink or the powder pink or the pastel pink. I'm just not a fan of it. And I have it. I've made, donation blankets with those colors because, I'm sure there are people out there that absolutely love the color pink. So I know some people who love pink almost as much as I love purple. So yeah. Now my favorite shade of purple is aubergine. So it is a really deep, dark purple, and the darker the purple, the better it is. And someday, I don't know when, but someday, I want to have a car in that color, like a deep, deep, dark purple. I don't know. Maybe it's just a pipe dream. I don't even need a car in deep purple, but I would always think about it, like what would it be like to have a car in that color? I don't know. Anyway, my second favorite color is red, and I'm talking about bold red, like bright in your face, vibrant red. I absolutely love that color. It's just so inspiring to me. And when I see that color, a million things come up in my head, design-wise, and things that I want to create. That happens too with the purple, but more on the red. The purple is more of a sentimental favorite because it was my grandmother's favorite color and my aunt's favorite color. And so every time I work with that color or I reference that color, I think about them. So yeah, if I didn't have that emotional connection to the color, I think I would just have red as my favorite color. But yeah, purple for sentimental reasons. Now, my least favorite color. Okay, of all the pinks, there is the country rose. It's like a dusty, muted pink. That's my least favorite shade of the purple. And I do have Karen 1 pound in that colorway. And I will use it. Actually, my ripple blanket that I designed has that color in it. I was challenging myself because I feel like, again, even if I don't like the color, I should still work with it. It doesn't mean that, I have to force myself to like something. No, I don't have to like it, but, people who watch me like that color. They love that color. So I'm going to work with it. It's fine. Anyway, I'm going to continue working with it. And I do have my blink snatchers, my little tongs. If things get out of hand, I'll use that. And then I also have purple gloves that Sherry sent me. So I have, you know, 2 tools to use if and when the pink becomes too much. And it's all in good fun. You know, that's really what it is. When you break it down, when you unpack it, it's literally all in good fun, you know. Um, so yeah. Now the stitches, my least favorite stitch is the trebles. And as I said in the podcast, like I absolutely love all the stitches, but you know, we do have some that we kind of look the other way. And trebles for me is that. More specifically, the treble cluster. So when you're doing 3 of them together, yes, that's not the things for me. Nope, I don't really care for that. But when you're talking about trebles by themselves, like standalone trebles, I'm good. I've practiced enough with that stitch that, you know, it's not so bad. It's not as bad as I thought it was. I made 2 donation blankets with that stitch, and also the fan shells. And I chose the fan shells because when you're working that up, it's 9 total stitches going across from one side to the other. And as your fan is building, it becomes very loose and haphazard, not the stitch, but the process, you know, and you have to maintain tension the entire way through. And for me, I notice, it's again user error, it's me, that the further along in that fan I go, the more loose my stitch became. And I've auto corrected it, but when I'm not thinking and I'm just working on autopilot, I may be watching someone else's podcast, I may be watching a movie, and I'll look down and I'm like, wait a minute. I know there's 9 stitches there, but why does the one on this side not look uniform to the one on the other side? And that's because it's me. It's the way I'm holding the hook versus my tension, and I'm not paying attention. So for me, that stitch is one down on the list because I actually have to watch the stitch. Like I have to pay attention the entire way through. And when I'm trying to work on donation blankets, I want autopilot projects. I want to be able to just get it on the hook, let my mind wander, and then just go from there. So yeah, and I'm already at the end of the round. How awesome is that? So how many rounds does this repeat? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so there we go. And I believe it's time to change. Is it time to change stitches? No. So I look at the repeat from the last section just as a guide, so I'm not having to look at the pattern the entire time, which again, having a repeat makes it a lot easier that way, instead of like a custom project where, oh, we're on round 53 and this is like, you know, only the second time we're repeating this stitch. Oh my. So yeah, after this color here, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch over and follow the sequence of the mandala that I have against the couch, which according to that, next is going to be forest green. But I only have 3 rounds on this color so far, and I have quite a ways to go, which is fine. So I decided to pull something out that was old, just so that I can continue to work on my older projects, because I'm always putting new projects on the hook, and I find that sometimes I get these new projects done before I finish my old ones. And yes, I get it. I'm a content creator. I design things all the time, and those old projects become forgotten about. So what I'm trying to do is make sure that I keep these older projects forward and not in the background so they don't get lost. I did a video, countdown to the finish line, and I had well over 20 WIPs here. And so what I wound up doing was I created a list. I detailed as much as I possibly could all of these projects. And then one by one, I started knocking them out. So I think it was 24 or 25, something like that. We went from 24, 25 down to, I think, 20 and then 15. And so now I'm sitting at around 10. So I'm super proud of myself. I have 15 of those projects taken care of with about 10 finished. Or I'm sorry, about 10 to go. I wish 10 were finished, but no. So I have about 10 to go. And this one here is one of the 10. And so one by one, I'm just going to work on it until it's done. Now, I feel like this one here is going to be a long-term project because I have quite a bit of this favorite wool. The goal here is to use all of the favorite wool that I have in these colorways for a blanket for me. So this is not going to be a donation blanket. Well, I'm sorry, that is not going to be a donation blanket. Whereas this one is. And so, yeah, I have quite a bit of that favorite wool. And what I think I'm going to do soon-ish is say to myself, Juan, don't change colors until you have 2 skeins completed at some point, because, you know, as I mentioned in the beginning, you know, the further out you go, the smaller those bands will be. And, you know, I imagine at some point it's going to get to a place where one round is going to be 1 skein. So, yeah. It's also taking me a while because I'm using a 3.5 millimeter crochet hook. I'd be finished that by now if I were using a 6. At least I'd like to think that. So, yeah. This stitch here, the double crochet cross, stacked double crochet cross, is really fun to work up because you're not going into the heads of any of the stitches. You're going on either side of the stitch, which makes it super easy to work up. You know, no thought process. You don't have to find the head of the stitch. You just go on this side and then that side, this side and then that side. It's super, super nice. So love, love, love that. So I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do a few more stitches of this. I may hop on over to the perfectly squared granny square just because I haven't worked on it for so long. And when you change hook sizes, like big to small, it takes a moment to adjust, you know, because your hand movements are used to working with, you know, that particular hook. And then when you change to a smaller hook, those movements become different. And so, yeah, I just have to acclimate my hands to the hook change. So, yeah. I don't think I'm going to get to another color on this session with this blanket, but that's okay. Moving the needle, even if it's just a little bit, matters just as much as everything else, you know? And I got questioned the other day about, you know, the speed of my crochet. Now, I don't think I crochet fast, and that's only because I'm constantly in a rush. I'm always rushing, and, you know, because I'm creating content, I have to, you know, edit, upload, and all of that. So I'm like, okay, I only have this much time to get this much work done. So I'm going to go as fast as I can. And then after a while, it became second nature. I no longer think about my speed. It just happens. And then sometimes I'm moving like molasses. I'm not concentrating. I'm going slow. So, you know, I have my moments. I think we all have our moments. It could be a stitch that you really enjoy working and you find yourself just going super fast because it's that easy to you. And then there's folks out there that, you know, they go super slow because they really enjoy the stitch. And I am team that side. So like, if you go slow because 1, that is just your pace, or 2, you're really enjoying what you're doing, then I say you continue doing what it is that you're doing. Never try to force yourself to be faster or to go faster unless it's something that you want to do for yourself. Because I feel like if you rush, and I can tell you from personal experience, if you rush and you're not wanting to rush, your work will show that. But if you're rushing and you want to rush and you're really, you know, motivated to do that, it also shows in your work, you know. So I say just go at your own pace, and whatever pace that is, that's the best pace. So there's that. Let me move on over to this one. I really should take a moment and trim these edges after this session. I mean, I made sure that the tails were super long. Where are we at here? So we're right here. And there's some weight to this blanket. I mean, yeah, 6 skeins. Well, I'm on the 6th one. So 5 completed skeins, around 225 yards. Wow. Well over 1,000 yards so far on this. And it's super, super nice. Now, I don't know if I mentioned this. So it's machine washable, lay flat to dry. I don't think I looked before today. If I did, I don't remember. And that's okay. So, yeah, this is an adjustment going from a 6 to a 3.5. I'm also going from acrylic, well, 100% acrylic to a blend, which, you know, there's an adjustment in the way that it feels. So it's super windy outside. I don't know how much of all of that you're hearing, but yes, the wind is giving me wind tunnel vibes. Wind tunnel vibes for sure. I have to be careful. I have lots of trees around my house, and so when it gets super, super windy, I go outside just to make sure that like nothing fell from the trees, or, you know, just for safety reasons, to make sure everything is still good. So I know maybe 1 or 2 people might ask, so I'm just going to answer it. The t-shirt is from Amazon, and I am an affiliate for Amazon. I'll put the link there. So if you're interested, feel free. I'll share the link to the t-shirt for sure. So if you're interested in this, feel free to click that link and get your size. And I love it. It's crochet. And, you know, I don't know if you know this about me, but I absolutely love science. And so, yeah, the elements: oxygen, carbon, helium. Yeah, very, very nice. Chromium. It spells crochet. I love my crochet t-shirts. It's so much fun to wear, especially when I, you know, record videos and things. I can't really go live with these t-shirts because the software, I'm not sure if it's just YouTube software or if it's my on my end, but it shows backwards when I go live, so I can't really wear these on lives. I have to wear plain shirts, but when I record videos, I can wear them, and I am, and I love it. And I get to pick, like, which one am I going to wear today? Yes, this is an adjustment. I do really enjoy the dots hook. I love how long the handle is, and I just have to get adjusted to the cadence of it, you know, the way that I'm handling the stitch. Once I have it down, I fly. But just trying to figure out how I had it before I stopped the last time, it takes a few moments. Just getting caught up in my stitches. So I failed to ask sooner, what are you guys working on? I hope you guys are, you know, working on your WIPs. Maybe you have a list. Maybe you're trying to work through them. Hopefully you don't have as many as I do. Well, I'm down to 10-ish, which is really, really good. But when I started my WIP journey there, I was around 20 to 25, and hopefully you don't have as many as I do. But if you do, that's okay too, right? Stay inspired, put things on the hook, and when you're done working it, put it down. As long as you have a systemized way of handling all of your WIPs. So for me, I have this system here. So I have gray baskets for my WIPs, and I have black baskets for like my tutorials or for off-camera projects. And so that's how I differentiate between what's for the channel and what's not for the channel. And so, yeah, I began recording everything in a book, and that also really helps. I mean, it's time consuming, but it helps. As long as you take those few moments to record when you start a project, what materials you used, and any other relevant information, you can always go back to it and say, for sure, I started this project on that day, and this is what I used and all the things. So I highly recommend it. I mean, I wasn't a fan at first, just because it's just something else that I have to do, but it really is necessary when you have a lot of WIPs. And you might not even need a book. If you get a 3x5 flashcard, write your stuff on the flashcard, put it in your WIP bag or basket so that you have it. And then you can take your card and file it away. So, you can keep track of how many projects you've done that particular month or week or year. So there's many, many purposes for recording your projects. So yeah, I'm just using a book because for me, it's a way for me to be able to keep track. It's like my Rolodex of projects. And so once the project is done, I still have it, and I can reference it and say, well, 3 months ago, I did this project and this is what I used. So this time around, instead of using that, I'm going to use this. And it's all in one place. So, I mean, you can do the same thing with like a card container. You can put your cards in it however you want. I mean, just whatever works for you. I just highly recommend that you keep track of your work if you can. So I have a few emails in my inbox asking me, Juan, how do I organize my WIPs? Well, I'll tell you, you need to decide for yourself which ones you're committed to finishing and which ones you're not committed to finishing. And that's okay if you're not willing to finish a project. Then you have to ask yourself, what are you going to do with that yarn? All that yarn that you have in other projects maybe could be reworked into other projects. So are you looking to recycle or reuse that yarn? Or maybe, do you have any friends or family members that you may want to gift WIP that to? So I would ask those questions to yourself and come up with a plan to figure out for sure how many true WIPs do you have, because you may be sitting on 10, 15 WIPs, but are they true WIPs? Are you looking to get all of them done? Maybe there's one or two that you want to frog back because, maybe you were committed to it, but you're just not feeling it right now. Maybe another day, another time. And if you're not committed to it, do you want to sit on it? Maybe think about it for a little while longer. You don't have to make that decision right away. Maybe give yourself some time. But above all, make sure you're giving yourself some grace, because, being constantly inspired by things you see and hear and read, it causes us to pick up our hooks and work up these projects. And, in the moment we're inspired, but, sometimes that's all it is, and that's okay. So, I mean, I've had projects where I mailed out to viewers of the channel. I gift whipped some of the projects, and I don't feel guilty about it at all. I feel like maybe what I had left is meant for someone else to be inspired by. And the same thing can be said about, what you're working on and who you have around you, so I say stay inspired. It's perfectly okay to have WIPs as long as you have a purpose. And sometimes it could be a learning opportunity, like there's this new stitch that you're so inspired by, and you want to work up that project to see what it's like for you to work that stitch up. And then once you have it, you put it down, and then you don't really have a desire to pick it back up because you've mastered that stitch, but you didn't really care for the project. So you ask yourself, should I frog that back, or should I take that WIP and give it to a friend? Maybe the friend would be inspired to finish that because you started it, so there's many, many angles to look at when you think about WIPs and what to do with them. So I would be perfectly okay with someone coming up to me and saying, hey Juan, I had 10 whips and I frogged them all. I'd be like, yay, because you've made a decision. It's when we can't decide that it becomes, okay, you know, we need to figure the things out. You know, it's not good to have whips and not eventually make decisions on what to do with them. You know, like you picked up that hook or the knitting needles and you started that project for a reason. Sometimes that reason changes, and sometimes you say to yourself, well, I just don't feel like finishing it, and it's perfectly okay. Don't finish it, you know? I mean, yeah, don't finish it. Just decide to yourself, okay, well, are you going to give it away? Are you going to frog it? Are you going to change up the project, right? So maybe, you know, what was supposed to be a blanket is now, I don't know, a swancho or a poncho or an asymmetrical scarf or something, pillowcases, or I'm sorry, pillow covers. So there's many, many options, and yeah, I would be thinking about all of that. So yes, I don't know if I told you this, but I really enjoy crocheting this granny stitch. I mean, I'm not going into any stitches. I'm literally going into the spaces in between the stitches. And the only thing I have to worry about is keeping the yarn on the hook and keeping it from slipping off. So, and almost always I'll be able to keep the yarn on the hook if I'm looking at it. Now, when I am on a vertical live and I'm crocheting this very project, I've seen it, I'm actually watching myself crochet through the camera. Like, I may not be looking directly at you. I may be looking over here off to the side, but that's because I'm watching myself crochet. Like, where's that space at? You know, so yeah. Now, I may hop back over to Timber Trails. I'm not exactly sure, but I just felt like this one, having been on the hook for such a while now, it needed attention. And if I manage to put some rounds on this, I may feature it on the next podcast as a work in progress, because technically I'm working it. It's no longer a UFO. I have it on the hook. I'm working it. So I can technically show this as a work in progress, but I want to make sure I have something substantial on this blanket. I don't want to do just one round and be like, here's my whip, I brought it back. I only did one round. So we'll see. I believe the next colorway after this brown is going to be the Cafe Latte color, which I'm excited about. I enjoy all three of these colors. The brown is on the dark side, and I do love working with dark yarn. But when I work with dark yarn, I'm wearing my neck light. I have a neck light that I wear. But since I'm recording, I don't know what that would look like if I had my neck light on while I'm recording. So it's a little bit of a challenge, but we're getting through it. It's absolutely fine. So I think I have the cadence down. We're good. Maybe, I'm not sure. Yes, I think we're good. So yeah, I think, yeah, let me get to the corner. I'll get to the corner and then I'll switch back over. Now I'm on this table here. I have a table right here. I have this color. This is vintage variegated yarn. It's absolutely gorgeous. I just squirreled. I can't stay focused. And I have this colorway right here. I would love to make something with these two colors. Now this here is Loops and Thread Soft Classic. Yeah, Loops and Thread Soft Classic. And this here is Sail Yarn, green tones. I have a full skin with the ball band on it. That's how I know. It's further than arm's reach. Hold on, field trip. There we go. Sayel yarn. And it actually says shaded greens. So 100% Orlan acrylic, manufactured by American Thread. Wow. Stamford, Connecticut, 06905. Yep. Dawn Sayel. Knitting worsted size, machine washable and dryable, moth proof, 3.5 ounces. So that's the ball band. And then there it is right there. So yeah, I just have these two as far as I know. I may have to look. I do have other shaded colors, but I never thought to put them together. Maybe if I have enough, I can pull all of these in different colors and put them together in one make. Oh, that would be awesome. I'm glad we did that. Yes. All right, so I'm going to stay committed here. I'm going to work until the corner, and then I'll hop on over to my next project here, my Timber Trails. And as of late, like, I'm really onto trying to use the yarn that I've already used. So like, okay, I made my spring make-along and I've tapped into 7 skeins of yarn. So instead of having 7 half skeins, I'm like, well, I could cake them up, or I could just quick put something else on the hook to work through that and then cake up the leftovers. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. Just trying to, you know, use up the yarn. I mean, I knew I was going to make donation blankets anyway. With me having that goal of 1 per week, it's really nice having that goal too, because it keeps me inspired, because it's, you know, it's for donations. So someone will eventually get this blanket or these blankets, you know, the ones I'm making, and it'll be for a good cause. So I'm super excited about that. Are you guys making any donation blankets? If so, do you have a goal? Sound off in the comments. You know, I'm very curious, like, maybe I'm the only one that has this goal. If you have a goal, what is your goal? Is it 1 a month? Is it 1 a week like me? Or just a goal of having 1 done? Or maybe you're not even making donation blankets. And that's okay too. You know, I used to be like, way back then. These projects take up so much of my time. It's like a lot of work, and to just take all of the work and hand it over to a complete stranger didn't sit well with me years and years and years ago, because, you know, it was my work. But as I got older, I said, well, you know, not everyone is able to do what I do here. So why not give, you know? So I taught myself that sometimes your hard work, you know, has residual benefits. You know, someone gets your blanket and they'll hold on to it for years and years and years. And they can actually say, well, someone made this for me. So yeah, it's not like they found it somewhere. It was given to them. So I changed the way I thought about it, and now I stay completely inspired. So that's great. All right, so I got to the corner. I stayed committed. Very, very nice. So far, I have 2 completed rounds. Now, the last color here, we did 5 rounds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I think based on what I have here, I may only be able to get 2 more rounds done before having to change over to the cafe latte. I'll keep you posted. If I can manage to get to the cafe latte before the next podcast episode, I will show this off as a WIP. But if I don't get to the cafe latte, I'll hold on to this until I do. So there's that. I'm going to come back to this. Where am I at here? So, okay. Back to the 6mm hook, and back to the stacked double crochet cross. Love that. Now I thought about not crocheting on this for this session, but I said, you know, I still have to stay committed to my donation blankets. You know, I could put something else on the hook. There's something that I'm looking forward to doing. I have all these little balls of yarn laying around in like bags. Excuse me. So I want to take these little balls and I want to make like a donation blanket, but I'm trying to figure out what's the best way to do that. Like I've done, you know, the scrap granny square blankets and all the things. I may actually take the squares that I'm creating and use these, you know, random colors to make a donation blanket. I think that's what I'm going to do. I have a JTYA square that I featured on a Crochet with JTYA a few weeks ago, and I've shown it a few times, but I think I may use that pattern with all the leftover yarns and create a donation blanket with it. We'll see. I'll keep you posted. Now, after doing that tutorial, there have been a handful of people who went ahead and made a blanket with that same pattern, but for me, I noticed that my work bowed because beyond the square that I created, if you go further out, you know, you need those stitches to make, you know, to make it even. So I did a modification and I made a blanket with it and it turned out very, very nice. And so I have a tutorial that is recorded. I'm just waiting for the right time to upload it to the channel for you guys to watch and enjoy. It's a very, very simple modification. It's nothing major, but once I have the time to sit down and get it uploaded, I'll do that. It's just, I want to make sure that I don't bombard my channel with all the things all at once, because then it gets lost in the mix. So timing is everything. Because it's almost like if I drop that video, I'm dropping it left hand and right hand, and then I have to make sure that it's not on a day where I'm already planning to drop like a Whipping It with Juan or a podcast episode, you know, so I have to be mindful of how I do that. So just stay tuned. It is coming. It has been recorded, so that's exciting. And then my nanny square. So my grandmother, I used to call her Nanny or Nan. And all of us kids did that. Like we all called her Nan. No one else called her by any other name. Her name was Nan or Nanny. And so I made a square for her. And unfortunately, that square, now I didn't release it because I'm trying to tweak it. I would imagine it would be nice to be able to do that square and continue the repeat to make a blanket if you want. But right now, I did something where I had I believe it was an odd stitch count. And in order for it to repeat, I need to go from odd to even. And the next stitch in the repeat doesn't allow that to happen. So I'm still fussing with it. But once I figure out the formula, I will be releasing that as well. I want to do it in purple in honor of my grandmother, but we'll see. I have some Lion Brand gradient yarn in that purple, and I think that would be the perfect yarn for that, but we'll see. And then I have to do one for my mom, because my mom found out that I'm doing one for my grandmother, and my mom was like, so what about me? Are you going to do one for me or what? And I said, I will. She said, when? I said, soon. She said, when is soon? I said, well, soon enough. She's like, well, I need to see it. Like soon meaning like as soon as possible. So yeah, I'll make sure that we get that done too. I mentioned it on the Sunday Live, but I didn't really get a chance to speak more on it because, you know, we were doing all the other things, which is fine. So I figured I have time because I still need to release the JTYA square and then my nanny square. So stay tuned for all of that. I'm very excited about it. Wow. Can you believe it? It's already been 45 minutes. If you're still watching, thank you so much. I really do appreciate your support. Maybe you tuned me out, you had me going on in the background. It all counts. I do appreciate it. So I'm going to wrap up our Whipping It with Juan session. If you enjoyed this, as I mentioned in the beginning, please give me a thumbie. They're absolutely free. If you're not subscribed to my channel and you're enjoying what you see, please consider subscribing to the channel. I'll do anything I can to earn your subscription. I am on 7 days a week, so there is that. So that is all I have for you for now. And until the next one, take care, friends. Bye.